All right, good morning, guys. So again, we just wrapped up. I was waiting to get my tonneau cover until I got my puck system in, which I did that myself. There's a bunch of videos I made, shorter videos just on kind of the steps. If you follow the instructions, super easy to do. Then I got the bed liner sprayed in through Autoplex. Now I went ahead and ordered the tonneau cover. Now I want to talk tonneaus real quick because I know a lot of people don't like them. They're used to them being kind of ugly, not as functional and stuff like that. So there's a handful of ones that are out there. I've had all of them at some point on one of my vehicles, and whether they came on it and I dealt with it or whatnot, I just have came to actually really appreciate them. And my brother-in-law, he ended up buying my MX4. I had my f150, and he was kind of hesitant at first because he was like, well, I don't know. But the real advantage of a tonneau is one, it makes this bed like a giant cargo area. Now people say, well, if I put that on there, then I can't put my dirt bike in there, or I can't put a chair in there, or a couch in there. Well, that's not necessarily true, but depending on the style you pick will then dictate the actual availability of your bed. So if you were to put, say, a camper shell, which is one of the taller ones, and it basically turns this into what would look like an excursion or a large SUV, I guess. The best way is there, a bed cap. Those are heavy and hard to get off. So yes, if you intended on putting something taller than the opening of that camper shell, then I would probably stay away from that. Now, every time I've had a camper shell, I've taken it off the vehicle when I got it and sold it or gave it away. I have no interest in that because I don't need that much cargo area. If I did, I'd just get a Suburban or something like that. But so my choice is really a hard tonneau. All right, so there's hard tonneaus and there's soft tonneaus, and then there's a breakdown between folding, one size fixed, hard folding. But really all of the soft ones, they're going to encompass some type of like vinyl, a marine grade vinyl that's going to cover this. Now, when you look at those are going to be the cheapest option for you when you get a tonneau. Now, what that does is gives you just cover, meaning people then can't see what's inside your bed, which that's good. If you like that kind of style and you want to spend about $300 or less, then you can get one. Typically they're though going to be vinyl. They're going to use some type of rail system that's used Velcro to hold it on, and it's going to clamp to the side of the bed. You won't affix hook and loop here or anything like that. It'll be like a rail, and then you're going to roll it, and then you can just roll that up and kind of like tie it together at the end with the straps that it uses. The problem with those is they don't offer any type of actual securement, meaning if you shut your tailgate, somebody that's a criminal could just come up with a pocket knife, cut it open, peek in there. If you got something that they like, they'll just take it. Not saying that a criminal won't get in wherever the heck they really want to, but that is a problem with that. Now, those ones roll up against the cab and give you full access to your bed. The second kind of soft one is a soft folding. So it mounts about the same way, but it's actually going to flip up in panels. I think those look a little bit nicer because they have some rigidity. Each panel gives it just a little bit more rigidity than the full soft ones, because the full soft ones that roll up have nothing in the middle, so they sit there and buffet in the wind. Over a few years of doing that, they start stretching and they start buffeting more. And if you've ever had like a tarp or something in the back of your truck that's sitting there flapping, it's annoying. And those vinyl ones, unfortunately, just aren't going to last that long. They're more susceptible to hail, obviously criminal, birds, droppings. You have cats in the neighborhood, they walk on it, poke a hole in it with their nails. All of those things can play into that. So I like hard tonneaus. Well, hard tonneau one pieces are ones that are going to mount to the top of the bed, and they kind of like go up at the end like a triangle type setup. So if you had something real big, you're going to have good area at the back of your bed here, but towards the front, you're going to lose all of it. And those are really heavy and hard to get off. Now, those do give you really good securement because they're usually all fiberglass or a hard plastic resin, and they're usually going to come all the way over the tailgate here. So once your tailgate locks, if you have a key lock or if it locks with the truck like this one, then it's going to give you a lot of good securement. Now, none of these are going to be 100% impervious to water, but a lot of them have figured out how to mitigate water. So unless you're sitting at the car wash spraying directly underneath the rail or up underneath it, I think you're going to be okay even with a soft one. Now, again, those one-piece ones, you go out to the furniture store and you want to get something, close your tailgate. Well, it's going to sit up, you know, at an angle kind of like this. And so, you know, then your bed's wide open again. All right. Then to take it off, you got to find some place to store it. They're heavy. They're a beast. And I don't know about you, but if you don't always have somebody around to help you, like I had some young teenage sons that were here, still one at home that he can help me. But that's not something that's going to be a long-term fix. So that never really worked well for me. I've had them, but I've gotten rid of those also. All right. So then you go into 3-piece folding and quad folding hard tonneaus. Now that's made by, say, Back Industries, Undercover Flex. Let's see here. There's hundreds of other brands out there that are making these things. You can go to Amazon and actually find dozens of cheaper brands, Armadillo, stuff like that. Gator's actually a subsidiary of Back Industries, BAK. And there is nothing wrong with any of those covers. Okay, they're all going to do the job that you're doing. Now, I like personally the ones that are flush mount to the bed. So the cheaper ones that are hard folding, they're going to stick up about an inch. They don't necessarily line up. Some of these beds kind of taper towards the rear, so they kind of stick up, but they are something that clamps onto the bed, offers you some pretty good water resistance and everything like that. And then they also cover a little piece of the tailgate. Now the problem is, again, they're just not flush, so obviously some of them are less attractive than others. In addition to that, the cheaper they go, they just use this thin piece of metal under here to clamp on, and over time I've seen those get bent up because they get aligned after you flip them a couple times, and you got to tighten them down, or you over tighten it, bows out the metal. So I'm not a fan of that. Okay, I want a system that mounts to the rails, that's flush mount, and uses a clamp style. Instead of pulling up on this metal, I want it to pull against it, not up. Those hard folding ones too that sit up on the rail, they're more prone to shifting, so you got to check the actual fasteners quite more often. So I've always had good luck with Back Industries. My dad's truck has a G2. That was the first generation of those. Geez, that's an 11, so he's had that one for a long time. Never had any issues with it. That one's made out of aluminum composite panels, so they're not resistant to hail. But smaller hail doesn't even sweat it. My dually down the street that I sold to my neighbor, that one has my G2 that I bought, the original G2, and that also has some hail on it, but the functionality is still there, still no leaking and stuff like that. Now, depending on which manufacturer you go with, their rail systems are going to change. Where they mount onto this is going to change. And in addition to that, accessories. So my back had a back box, which was a foldable toolbox that went up against the bulkhead of the bed there. And within a few minutes, you could fold that toolbox up flat and give you another 6 inches. But if you didn't always need that, you had space underneath it. And then the toolbox is about 12 inches wide by 12 inches deep. So I kept all my chains and tensioners in there. The only issue with that is I went through a couple sets of brackets because they're made out of kind of like aluminum, so it was kind of tough to weld. But Back sent me out the new pieces, we put them on there, but it really is me overloading the toolbox. But there's other ones out there. Undercover Flex, I think, has swing boxes that come out here, but they're going to take up this room. I really like to stay away from that. Over the last couple of times I've got the MX4. I had an MX4 on the Chevy Custom. I had the MX4 on the F150 and also on my f350. Unfortunately, I sold it on Craigslist to a guy that got a really good deal on it, not knowing that I was going to need it back. So those, though, as we said, the soft folding and soft rolling, those are going to start under 300. As you get into the cheaper hard folding ones that sit above the bed, those are going to be 600 or less. Then you start getting into the flush mount ones that are going to have a rail system mitigating water towards the rear, or drain tubes up at the front. Those are going to start getting up to the 600-700s. And then once you step up to the MX4, Fiber Max, the Undercover Flex Ultra, Armor, any of those more high-end ones, you're going to be talking $1,000. Now, again, if you're a contractor or somebody that doesn't need a ladder rack, even some of those work with ladder racks, but say you didn't need that, but you need to keep this secure and dry, I've never seen somebody be able to break into one of those and get those open. You need some type of cutting wheel or a hammer and a crowbar, and if they're going to go that far, you know, obviously they'll be trying to break into the truck and get more out of it. That being said, most insurance companies will compensate you if those do get damaged in a hailstorm or something like that. That is one truck accessory they typically will cover, because that's also protecting your cargo and your bed. Now, one thing I do like is the flush mount ones that go here. They have a rail system in there that you can just kind of open them up with a cable. Well, my hitch can stay in the truck 24/7. I put all my tools in the front bag up there. Everything stays dry, and then when I'm ready, as long as it's a quad fold, you can actually fold it up and put it up against the back window. If they don't lean against the window, like the back will stay against the back window. The undercover flex has a tensioner system that holds it straight up and down. Yes, it blocks this. I get that. However, the MX4 came to right about here, and I was able to still leave it down and use my fifth wheel hitch. So on both the Chevy and that. So I actually liked it. Oh, and my Ram, I was actually able to do it too. So if you get one of the tri-folding ones, this first panel is usually so long that it will impose on that, but those all come out with a few twists of a few knobs. So I mean, it's really not that crazy to take it out. And then the more higher you go in the level, the lighter the material gets and stuff. It's easier for you to take out, but because you can tip it up here, you can put your dirt bike in here and everything like that, and you'll be just fine. Then when you're done, you can just shut it in incremental pieces and have your secured stuff. Because when we go to Costco or, you know, shopping for Christmas, we fill this whole back thing up. Another thing's nice is in the summer, you know, the dog's kennel can actually sit back here with the thing shut, you know, or if it's kind of just a cooler and she doesn't want to ride in the cab, or he doesn't want to ride in the cab, you can do that. So I strongly recommend getting a hard folding quad one, so that way you don't have to take it off as much. And again, I like the ones that just mount to the rail here and clamp on. So which one did I pick this time? I've had great luck with the back. I've had okay luck with the undercover flex. I thought about buying a cheaper tri-fold one. I thought about buying a Gator quad fold that was about $900, but those ones aren't impervious to hail, and unfortunately in Colorado we do get some hail, just like a lot of places. But my luck, Murphy's luck, brings it always to my house and trashes my stuff. So I have decided to not go with the tried and true MX4, which I love because it has a matte finish, it has a great flush fit, it looks really good, because I found on sale the Lear 650M quad folding, and after watching several videos on it, I know Lear makes really nice things, or at least used to. They made bed caps, they make tons of stuff, and I'm gonna give that a shot. It's about $50 cheaper than the MX4, and it is coming. I will do a separate video on that, and how to install that. But I do like it because a lot of the covers too, you must open the rear panel before you can shut the tailgate. But the new MX4 and undercover flex, they have I guess a two-way seal, so you can actually open and shut it without opening it. It wasn't a big deal. I was used to that with my G2, but the G2 was really heavy. You know, not when I was younger, not that I'm old, but you know, I want it to be lighter. I don't want it to be a little bit, I want it to be a matte finish, because over the years that G2 did start fading and the paint started chipping. But other than that, that is going to be my next accessory on the 7.3 Godzilla. And again, I picked that because of the quad folding feature, load security, not just cover, and the ability to be able to still use my hitch and leave this down, not blocking my window when I'm trailering. So if you need any other questions answered, just reach out to me. I've had all of the tonneaus that you can imagine, and my recommendation, like I said, if you're just looking for something cheap and just wanting to cover it up, then grab one of those cheap roll-up ones for $300 or less off the Amazon, slap it on there, and I think you'll like that. They do say they improve fuel economy. I don't really know for sure if it really does, because it adds some weight, but it would hypothetically make this more aerodynamic also. So please subscribe, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.